Have you ever walked into a church so peaceful, so quiet, that you could never have imagined serious secrets were hiding behind those stained glass windows you see from the outside? That's exactly what the Zion Light Church felt like, until a few weeks ago, when shadows refused to stay hidden. Tucked away in the dusty outskirts of Pretoria, where the red earth cracks in the dry season and the wind carries faint whispers of praise, the church looked like the kind of place where holiness lived and breathed. The bell tower, though weathered, still rang out clear at dawn. White roses climbed the side walls. But, oh, how wrong that was. Very, very wrong. So, what happened? What went wrong, and who was responsible? Pour yourself a cup of coffee, or tea, or whatever helps you unwind, grab some snacks, and settle in. You're about to see the dramatic side of modern church life. Please meet our dear church choir mistress, Hlengiwe Ndlovu. She is a 26-year-old young lady, strikingly beautiful, and with a voice that could make the toughest veterans of the pews weep without warning. She was the choir mistress everyone adored, and, yes, a few envied. When she sang, the little chapel walls seemed to lean in closer, as if just to catch every trembling note. But even angels have secrets. And those of this young woman can best be described as simply perilous. Introducing Pastor Thabo. The whole story started in a very innocently manner without any trace of danger lurking around. Late one evening, after the choir rehearsal for the day had ended and the church corridors were hushed, Hlengiwe stayed a little bit longer than usual. She told herself she needed to arrange the hymn books, adjust the organ bench, and stuff like that, but the truth was she just did not want to leave the environment yet. That's when Pastor Thabo slipped in behind her. He was middle-aged, respected, married, a pillar in the community. He greeted her with that gentle smile that could comfort parishioners and lull them into trust. They talked about the new gospel arrangement, about the youth outreach program. A few laughs. A shared moment over the same flickering hallway light. And then, something shifted. A smile that lasted a heartbeat too long. A stray, tempting touch here and there. That night changed a whole lot of things in their lives. Introducing the rival Pastor Joel Jacobs. Weeks later, as rumors swirled about what had happened between Hlengiwe and Pastor Thabo, Pastor Joel Jacobs made his move. He was younger, flashier, always dressed in crisp shirts and polished shoes. He asked for a private music lesson, said he wanted to learn her techniques. Choir practice had ended, but he stayed with her in the vestry, his phone recording their session. When the door clicked shut, you can imagine what transpired. It was something different from a normal music lesson. At first, Hlengiwe was stunned. To be fair to this beautiful young woman, she had actually not planned this. Not at all. But as the facts settled, something inside her hardened. She realized the truth: she held power that pulpit speeches could never grant. Power that made grown men panic at the sound of her footsteps. The first calls. So, she made her first call, and this was directed to Pastor Thabo. "Meet me behind the church," she said, flat and unyielding. "Midnight. Come alone." He arrived, hands trembling, brow sweaty, holding an envelope bulging with cash. "You don't want your wife to find out, do you?" Her voice was ice. He shook his head. "Then let's keep this between us." She, of course, got what she had demanded as compensation for her being taken advantage of by the pastor the other time they were alone together. The next person on her schedule, of course, was Pastor Joel. She made the very same moves with him as she had done with Pastor Thabo. This pastor also went through the same look of fear like the one before him, had to submit to her demand and handed over the much-needed envelope. Hlengiwe, consequently, lived like a queen for quite a while as these events unfolded. There were new shoes that gleamed in Sunday's sun. She paid her rent months in advance. Groceries without the penny tally. Every Sunday she rose, standing in that choir loft, voice more angelic than ever. Guilt and conspiracy. However, guilt is a sly tormentor. It gnaws at you in the quietest moments. And for the pastors involved in this scenario, they were of course not sleeping well at all. One sultry afternoon, behind the pulpit's crimson curtain, Thabo pulled Joel aside. "We've created a monster," he hissed. Joel's face went dark. "She knows too much." Suddenly, a plan formed, a very sinister and precise one at that. It was actually a trap. They promised Hlengiwe one last final payment. They arranged a meeting at the old broken water pump outside the village. That is a venue that was from prying eyes. Long after the moon had risen high. The final showdown. Hlengiwe was of course not so naive. She had noticed the shift in their voices, saw the glitter of fear in their eyes. But she was bold, perhaps a bit too confident. So she went. That night, the moon was a skinny sliver. Shadows stretched like crooked fingers across the dry grass. The only sounds were the creaking pump and the distant croak of frogs. She stepped out of her sedan, her silhouette outlined by the car's dim taillights, a duffel bag slung over one shoulder. In the bag were letters, audio recordings, her insurance policy against betrayal. Pastor Thabo stood in a long coat, pistol tucked inside. Pastor Joel waited beside a rusted barrel, something heavy concealed behind him. "Did you bring it?" she asked in a steady voice. Pastor Joel nodded and started to step forward, but what he held was not the money he had promised her. Before she could react, bang! A deafening crack in the night. She dived behind the pump's rusty base as dirt sprayed around her. "Stop her!" Thabo yelled, heart pounding. Joel stumbled backward, whimpering, bleeding. He collapsed on the dry earth. Thabo fired again. Hlengiwe had the bag to her chest and sprinted into the fields, boots thudding against brittle grass. Her breath came in sharp gasps. Every twig snapped underfoot seemed to betray her. Yet she ran, toward freedom, toward sunrise, toward whatever new life awaited beyond the church's dusty gates. What was the aftermath? By dawn, the scene was eerie. The broken water pump dripped a single, lonely drop. Joel lay unconscious. Thabo sat slumped against a fence post, head in his hands. No sirens. No gathering crowd. Just the pale light creeping over the horizon. That morning, Zion Light Church stood silent again. The bell tower loomed like a watchful sentinel. Two pastors, bruised, broken, silent, waited, covered by the curtains behind the pulpit. No one asked questions. No rumors dared to surface. And Hlengiwe? She never returned. Some say she vanished into the labyrinthine streets of Johannesburg, forging a new identity. Others whisper she moved east, to a coastal town where the ocean's roar drowned out her past. But everyone agrees on one thing: since she left, the church has never been the same. So next time you hear a choir mistress warble that note a little too sweet, remember, sometimes the loudest voices carry the darkest secrets. And in those moments between high notes and holy hymns, real stories, thrilling, dangerous, are waiting to be told. Thank you for joining us on this inspiring tale. If this story moved your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more powerful African stories. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep believing in the magic of your dreams. Please do us a favor by leaving comments below regarding what you think about this video and what other types of content you think we should produce on this channel for your consumption. You should also encourage us by liking, sharing and subscribing to this channel before leaving. Thanks for visiting the Myths and Stories from Africa channel.